Chris here with the ASP and Stan. So Stan, what do you have on display right here?
This is a display of how we protect the American soldier from the past 97 years. Prior to World War I, there was no such things as helmets or body armor. Now, when the First World War came along, we basically made a deal with the British, and they would send us their helmets, which are called Brodies. And that becomes the M17, which people called the tin hat. And it had oil skin, and it had a leather. And unfortunately, when any one part broke, you had to junk the whole helmet. That was always a problem with it. It just was not maintainable, shall we say. The British continued with this helmet to the Second World War. The next evolution for the Americans was what's called the Kelly. They took the existing M19A1s, but they made them so they could be replaced. Parts could be taken apart. When one part broke, you replaced that part. You didn't have to junk the entire helmet. And this is what American soldiers wore at the early part of World War II. You'll see some pictures in training. It's what the guys wore at Bataan, Corregidor, Wake Island Marines. They had what was called the Kelly. And you'll see a lot of pictures stateside.
Yep, and that's the original liner.
And that's an original liner. Now, what they started developing before the war was the M1 or the steel pot, which became the iconic American helmet for World War II, Korea, and even Vietnam. And it gave you better protection. It was a two-piece design with a helmet liner that could come out, and the helmet liner could be worn separately. All right, let me see if I can get this. One's going to stick on me.
There you go.
And some guys just wear these by themselves. Now, I'm a fan of the steel pot. I want to tell you all the advantages of the steel pot. Number one, steel pot.
Steel.
You could cook in it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that destroyed the temper of the steel. You could bail your foxhole, get the water out. If you needed a bathroom in the middle of the night, the helmet.
Yeah, this will be your latrine.
This is your latrine.
Yep.
If you wanted to pound tent stakes into the ground, this was also a very useful tool. And you could use it as a weapon, hurling it at people or smashing them with it.
Yep.
All right? So, it was such a useful item that it served a long time. Now, over here, I have the camouflage cover that the Marine Corps used, which is reversible, green side, tan side, and I have an M52 protective vest. There was also an M51. Now, this vest had plates in it, and it was designed to stop shrapnel, but it also was sometimes effective against pistol or submachine gun ammunition.
But not rifle.
Not rifle. No, neither is the helmet. Contrary to popular belief, helmets do not stop bullets.
Yep.
An M16 at 300 yards can penetrate through both sides of an American steel helmet.
Okay.
Now, during the Korean War, they would develop a flak vest, and they would immediately send it out into the field and test them. So these were coming out. Now, prior to this, the only flak vests we had, we call them flak vests sometimes, were the ones that were issued to guys in the Air Force. All right? The bombardier crews would have flak vests, the machine gunners, but they weren't moving around. Most of these vests get issued near the end of the Korean War when we have the Battle of the Hills, and it's more of a stagnant war. The early part of the war, an American soldier had a shirt, and that was it. Okay, Vietnam era, you got the camouflage cover on the helmet, but still the steel pot of World War II frame. The vest became armor body fragmentation with three-quarter collar. They had done some experiments. Some were made without collars, some have epaulets. You still run into these. In the 1970s, a lot of police departments were given these as free government military surplus, and within 10 years they were throwing them away, and guys like me were collecting them because Kevlar had come along. And Kevlar was so superior to this nylon bullet-resistant stuff. And the argument in the military was, do we want a flexible vest or do we want a hard plate vest? And when Kevlar came along, it seemed to have solved the problem. So we'll go over to the next vest, the PASGT vest, okay? And you can look up what that means, PASGT. Now, this was first worn in Grenada. Now, the helmet was Kevlar. And if you go to the Museum of the 82nd Airborne at Fort Bragg, they have one of these in a display with a big indentation right here and a bullet sticking out of it. And some American soldier was wearing that when one of the Cuban construction workers took a shot at him. And that was the first time the Kevlar was used in combat. And it stopped the bullet. The bullet is embedded, and they have it in a display case. Now, I don't know how they ever got that helmet, because if that was my helmet, I would never turn it in. I would tell them, quartermaster didn't give me that, God gave me this helmet. I would then wear it to racetracks and casinos for the rest of my life.
As a good luck charm.
As a good luck charm. But this is your Kevlar vest. And it was used in Grenada. Now, when they got to the desert, there is a real problem. When you wear these in the desert, it gives you an uncanny resemblance to the pop-up targets at the qualification range, okay? So they had to camouflage them, and they had made these just like this, green, because they were prepared for a war in Europe. Now, if you go over here, we see the Desert Storm version, and what it is here, they created an outer cover that you could quickly slip over, and it covered up most of the green, okay? And this is still the Kevlar helmet with what's called a chocolate chip design, which was designed originally by experts in America who went to the Southwest desert. Now, the only problem is this is great camouflage if Mexico ever decides to invade us and we have to defend the Southwest American desert. In the Middle East, it's not a good camouflage. And they started to realize that early. It had too much brown in it, and they went to what's called the three-color camouflage, which is going to be next. But the next vest is also different, and the helmet is different. The helmet may look the same, but they realized that they needed to have more room on the side, so they had to trim back some of the helmet. They also put a lot of cushioning into it, which I'll show you here. And this is similar to what they learned, the National Football League is learning, called concussion. And, having a helmet that transmits the blow right to your head is, doesn't penetrate it, but it hurts it.
Yeah.
You really needed
padding.
more padding.
Yep.
So this thing here is a lot better padded, the Mitch helmet or the Army Combat helmet. Now, the vest, you see the three-color pattern, and this one here has only one plate in the front. It has a neck protector, and it has, over here, let me see if I still have it on there. Let me see if it's there. Oh, the diaper. We call this the diaper. That's to make sure that there's future generations of American soldiers, okay?
Basically, don't get shot in the groin.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys, that's all they wanted to wear. I had guys, veterans, tell me they kept the plate in the back. They were worried about being shot in the back. In the front, they had all their web gear, their ammunition, and so forth. And they felt that the plate in the back, complete with a camel back full of water, was enough protection. It gave them movement, flexibility. The thing is, the more armor you wear, the less you can move.
Less mobility.
Less mobility. And you're going up against a guy whose only protection is cotton and the Quran, okay? So some guys wanted to take bigger risks and would wear less body armor, but that's been a problem. Now, over here to the right, I have a complete set of body armor. A complete set, which I have fixed up. This has got what they call deltoid protector for the arms. It's got side plates, protect you on the side, and there's plates there. It's got a back plate, then it's got a thing that hangs down to cover the small of your back. All right, it's got a neck protector, it's got a high shoulder, and it's got plates in the front and the back. But then now you're lugging anywhere from 50 to 60 pounds, and this here is the first aid kit. Now, that's an Army first aid kit. The Marine Corps is a little bigger. It has 2 tourniquets. I mean, the Marines' attitude was, if you get injured in one of these, you're going to probably lose limbs, like an IED. You're going to probably lose at least 2. You're going to need 2 tourniquets. The Army one just gave you just 1 tourniquet, and, you can see it, the first aid kit is double the size of a World War II jungle kit or Vietnam era kit.
Yeah.
It's called an IFAC, Individual First Aid Kit. Now, in addition to the vest, you still got your Mitch helmet with the padding. This device here is for mounting your night vision goggles. And then you got protective glasses, spectacles, special protective gear.
Yeah.
All right? And sometimes you wear them, you can take them out of this pack. This is a multicam, which is the latest, shall we say, camouflage design that you're wearing. So helmets now have camouflage, have ballistic protection, have padding against concussion. You're wearing glasses. You're almost getting to the point of medieval times with armor. And the only reason armor disappeared from the world stage was bullets penetrated it. And it was just useless to wear all that when a bullet could go right through it.
Yeah.
So we've sort of gone full circle. We're now going into protective equipment. And throughout history, you've had the battle between defense and offense. So I'm sure the research and development people in every country are designing bullets that will penetrate this armor.
Oh yeah.
You know, so we'll see what happens. But this one here, just so you know, is fixed up as a joke. It's got infidel patch and stuff like that. That's not what guys wear over there.
Yeah.
And it's just an example of the evolution of body armor from nothing at all, from a shirt to a helmet and a vest that protected you against fragments, to now a helmet and a vest that actually protects you against small arms. The plates that are inside are called SAPI, S-A-P-I, which stands for Small Arms Protective Insert. And since then, they developed even better ones called ESAPI, which means Enhanced Small Arms Protective Inserts. And this is how we try to protect the American fighting man. But again, you're cutting down on his mobility.
Yeah, mobility. You sacrifice
mobility for protection, right? That's the trade-off.
And what is the trade? Another trade-off is with the body armor right over here. Guys in Iraq and Afghanistan, the temperatures over there are hot.
This is an earlier model. The newer ones have like a mesh inside, which I don't have one of those. Those are current issue. They're not really available to the general public yet.
Yeah.
Or the collector market. They have them where it's like a mesh, which theoretically improves your circulation.
Yep.
Also, your uniform. I don't have one here with me, but they call it the combat shirt.
Mm-hmm.
If I put it on a regular shirt, it's got a lot of pockets and things that you can't get to when you're wearing this.
Oh, yeah.
So they've eliminated that, put in like a lightweight cloth that permits you to breathe, and it's called a combat shirt. And if you watch some of the latest movies like American Sniper or Lone Survivor, some of the guys, when they're not wearing body armor, you will see that the shirt they're wearing looks like a t-shirt.
Oh yeah.
It's camouflage sleeves, but a t-shirt front, and that's called a combat shirt. And I have some combat shirts in multicam and in the Army Combat Uniform ACU, but I just didn't bring them for this display.
Well, Stan, fantastic display, fantastic presentation from the early 20th century now to current with body armor protection.
It was a pleasure to share the information with you and your viewers.